welcome to week 4 video vlog. This week I wanted to talk about my experience in Copenhagen and how I was pushed a little bit outside of my comfort zone when visiting one neighborhood of Copenhagen, specifically Christiania. Now this neighborhood is very much an alternative neighborhood of Copenhagen. It's a bunch of hippies who kind of built a compound-like style and don't follow the Danish government and even do some illegal activities like sell marijuana. This pushed me outside of my comfort zone because even though I've been to Amsterdam and seen where it's legal to sell marijuana, it's not legal here, and everything they're doing is still illegal under the Danish government, but the Danish government just chooses to kind of turn a blind eye to them and kind of let them do what they want. And to me, this was really interesting because I think it shows a unique relationship between the government and its people. To me, this whole experience was really interesting because here is an entire group of people who want to live an alternative lifestyle. And we've seen several examples of this in the US where hippies wanted their own land and wanted to build a compound of sorts without money, without like jobs and like taxes and all of that, and wanted to live this alternative lifestyle. And the government very much did not let them, opposed it, and put up very many walls for them to prevent them from doing as such. And I think it was really interesting how the Danish government kind of gave them this little piece of land and allowed them to do what they wish and just kind of keep it controlled. And I don't know specifically how they interact with the government, but I know that the government has allowed them to do this. And I don't know what the Danish people's point of view is on this neighborhood, but I can imagine in the US, if this happened, there would be people outraged about this, which doesn't really make sense because here's a group of people who want to live an alternative lifestyle, and all they want is a little piece of land to live their life the way they want to live it. They don't want to interfere with our lives. They're not trying to make us all smoke marijuana and get tattoos and eat organic. And so I don't see why we should oppose such a lifestyle. It shows a lot about the government and the culture that they're willing to let these people do what they want. And I think it shows, in a sense, cultural competence because even though they're all Danish and they're all from Copenhagen, they live and they act differently than the rest of them. And so I think that ties back to the class in the way that cultural competence doesn't necessarily mean outside of your country of origin. It can literally mean just people who live in a different neighborhood than you. And I think a good example of this that I've experienced is in high school I played competitive basketball. And growing up in the very, very white suburbs of Des Moines, Iowa, some of the girls on my team came from the inner city of Des Moines. And so it was very much the difference between the white girls in the suburbs and the African American girls in the inner city, and we lived very different lifestyles. And I think that gave me a lot of cultural competence because through that experience, I was able to better understand basketball and the world in general and meet these girls. And some of these girls immigrated from Ethiopia, and they had amazing stories of what it was like to live in this third world nation or live in a tribe, and talked about their dads, and like it was a really cool experience. And I think that gave me cultural competence, and these girls lived 10 minutes away from me. I think it just goes to show that being culturally competent does not mean you have to be well traveled. It just means that you have to be open and accepting of other people. And as the US, and specifically Iowa and Des Moines, becomes more diverse, it's going to mean a lot more to be culturally competent. Culturally competent doesn't just mean that you're okay with some different skin tone. It's going to start meaning that you are accepting and aware of those who maybe don't speak English the best, or those who are different socioeconomic status than you. And all around just being a better person and more accepting of those. That's all for this week.